Hey there battery buds, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the F18 by KingSong. At the time of recording, this wheel has been out about 3 months and I put over 300 miles on mine. I bought it brand new, so it wasn't provided to me by KingSong for review, meaning this will be an unbiased opinion. I'll go over the specs and features along with the good, the not so good, and why it may or may not be for you. So grab a snack or pop a squat on the toilet and let's get into it. But first, a word from the sponsor of today's video. So let's get the specs out of the way. The F18 is bringing a 5,000 watt motor with 151 volt, 2700 watt hour Samsung 50S batteries, smart BMS, and 4 D&M shocks, 2 air and 2 oil. They give you fine-tuned settings and provide 100mm travel. It's got an IPX6 waterproof rating and weighs in at a very well-balanced 90 pounds. It boasts a cruising speed of over 50 miles an hour after firmware updates, which I'll touch on later, and offers a range of 70 miles, but I didn't do a range test as I mostly ride this wheel on trails. I feel like that's where this wheel is really going to excel. Now, some small extras are going to be the Bluetooth speakers, Apple Find My, and a sweet taillight display that's customizable through the app. There's also enough room to fit a 2.7 inch wide or a 3 inch wide knobby tire or a 90/90 street tire. It's a 14-inch rim, so you can accommodate up to a 20-inch tire, which gives you a lot of options if you're looking to tear up the trails or you want to get out there and melt some asphalt. So, right out of the gate, it's definitely packing a lot of great features that you really want in a wheel. Now, the biggest selling point for me was these shocks. I absolutely love that it comes with the 4 D&M shocks, 2 on either side. You're going to have the air shock and the oil shock. The air shock is going to be your rebound, so you can set the rebound speed at the top with the red dial, and you'll pump in the air at the bottom. It's going to come with an air shock, and it'll give you a chart based on your weight, so this way you can get it dialed in and see how fast it's going to rebound when you're going over terrain. You can get it as buttery smooth as you want, or if you want the rebound a little bit slower, it is totally up to you. The preload is also easily adjustable. It's got 25 settings to pick from, so this way you can set it either as hard or as soft as you want, but you'll find a spot where you're not exactly bottoming out when you're taking big drops within reason, or it's not going to feel like it's too stiff when you're landing as well. Some people do like a stiffer suspension, but that's the nice part about it is you can really get it custom to what your specific riding style is. So this way, like for example, when I'm hitting jumps, if I case the landing, it doesn't feel like I'm smashing down too hard, or conversely, if I overshoot the landing and I land on the flat, it doesn't feel like I'm absolutely going to destroy the wheel because I'm able to get it to right where I'm at. It will accommodate a 310-pound rider. I committed 250 pounds and I've had no problems with it whatsoever. Now, another one of the great features is the pedal adjustability. With this wheel, you've got 3 different settings for the pedal height, which has a range of 30 millimeters between the highest and lowest setting, and the pedal angle adjusts between 8 and 24 degrees. Now, I didn't mess with the pedal angle at all. I left it how it was because it felt really comfortable right out of the box, but I did put my pedal height all the way up as high as it would go. And when I got out there on the trails, it feels really good. There's no fear of pedal clipping, dragging on rocks or roots. I'm not worried about dragging a pedal across a berm or taking a bank or anything like that. And, one of the things to consider is the higher up you go on the wheel, the harder it is to balance and maneuver. But because this wheel has a great weight distribution, you don't feel any of that at all. So even if you're at a high setting, it still feels really nimble. You don't have to fight to keep the wheel in check. It just works with you. Another great feature is the quick release motor system that they have set up here. First, you're going to remove the 2 little screws that hold the little housing over the phase wires. Then you undo the 3 phase wire screws. That pulls the phase wires free from the top part, and then it's basically this cable that runs to the motor. So once you've undone those 3 cables, you come down to the bottom, you're going to unscrew these 2 screws on both sides of the wheel, and then the motor simply slides right out. It's a very quick, convenient way to go ahead and get your motor pulled out if you're doing tire changes or anything like that. Gone are the days of having to pull like all the fairings off, or battery covers or whatnot, just to get to the motor mounts or anything like that. It's a matter of literally 10 screws at max, the 2 for the housing, 3 for the phase wires, 4 for each of the other ones. So it's super convenient. On the website, they talk about how it takes about 2 minutes to get the whole thing undone. When I did my tire change, I think I got my whole tire change from start to finish done in about maybe 15 to 17 minutes. It was a simple, dropout process. Getting the tire change, not hard at all. Now, speaking of tires, the F18 ships out with either a street or a knobby tire. The knobby tire that came on mine was a Gillier type tire, but I'm very used to riding my Shinko 244, so I tried the Gillier for a few miles, but I wasn't thrilled with it. It was harder to turn. It had what felt like a flatter profile. If you notice on the Shinko, it's got a rounder point of contact, which makes leaning and carving a lot more responsive. On the Gillier, it seemed like it was a little bit harder to lean into it to get the turns that I wanted to get out of it. I felt like I had to push more and give it a lot more oomph to make it lean in and take the turns. So on the 244, it's been fantastic, but it's got a wide enough chassis that it will accommodate either a 2 3/4 inch wide tire or 3-inch tire by 14, as it is a 14-inch rim, or you can do like a 90-100 street tire. So you're going to be able to get into, it's going to be a 20-inch tire basically all the way across. And to be, perfectly frank, it does not feel like a 20-inch wheel. When you get out there, I'm used to riding the Master. It's a 20-inch wheel, and it felt a little bit beefier than taking this out. It just is very nimble. It's well balanced. So I think regardless of what tire you go with, you're really going to like it. It just depends on the type of riding you do and, what your preferences are, your comfort level. Now, a couple of other features on the wheel are going to be the headlights. They're pretty straightforward, no pun intended, where the top bulb has the regular lights, a yellow light for cutting through rain or fog. It's going to have auxiliary lights on the side, or you can just run the auxiliaries. All 3 of these lights are adjustable. The top lamp adjusts up and down, and then the auxiliary lights adjust downwards. It also comes with 2 speakers. On either side there's a box, and these speakers are removable. So if you don't want to ride with speakers for whatever reason, you just pull off the 2 screws, undo the quick release latch, and then there's one more screw that runs along the kickstand / handle brace on the side here. So it's as simple as just removing 3 screws and the speakers come off. But the cool thing is the speakers actually work with the brake light, where you can run it and you can set it on the app, where depending on what you're playing, it will blast music and change the light show and do what it does, which is a neat little feature. Especially if you're riding in a group and you got music playing, it's fantastic. Everybody can kind of see the little light show that you're putting on, so it's kind of lovely, and it's cool that it comes with that feature. Of course, it's the kind of thing that you don't get to see as the rider because everything is behind you. And I will say that the speakers sound fantastic when you're going at a slower speed, but once you get going about 35-40 miles an hour, you are not going to hear a whole lot of the music. So everybody behind you, again, if you're on a group ride, they're going to love it. You, maybe not so much. Now, speaking of things that you might not love so much about this, let me go ahead and get to this weird detail. This is the back handle, which is all one unit. The back handle runs all the way down the back side of the fairing plate to the kickstand, which makes it a very solid connection. But this part right here is raised about 1.5 inches or 2 inches up off the Velcro. So the problem is that you cannot put your own pads back there, and if you do, they're going to be pushed way forward. Typically, I like to ride my pads a little bit back. I do like them tight, but I still like to keep my foot more in the middle of the pedal. And having to use this particular system, I had to ditch the pads that I was using originally because I had no room. On the top, I was able to barely squeeze my pad on, but for the bottom pad that I do like to use, because I like to use 2 pads on the bottom, as you can see here, there is no room for a pad because of that brace. I've seen other riders that on other videos that have cut that with metal. They just pull the whole brace off and cut it. I don't really want to do all that. I like how this wheel looks. I like the function. I like the strength that it does provide, the kickstand and the handle. It feels very solid, but it's very uncomfortable if you're typically riding your Grizzly pads, Clark pads, anything that's not the custom set. And that's one of the first things I do whenever I get a new wheel is just pull off the power pads and put my own on there. So that will be a challenge if that's something that you do. I found that riding the stock pads is not terrible, but again, I'm used to having my foot locked in, and I do like to ride with a pad lower down towards my ankle, and I'm finding that when I'm hitting bigger jumps, my feet are coming off the pedals. So that's a little bit tricky. I'm still working on it. Not sure how I'm going to make this work as far as the pads go. It's not a deal breaker for me, but it's something I definitely wanted you to be aware of when going into this wheel, because it is absolutely going to be a little bit of a change. You might be uncomfortable with it. Some people don't like riding stock pads. Some people are fine with it, and that's great and that's wonderful. I personally like a lot of the printed pads that come out much wider, because I'm somebody who likes to feel my foot locked in. It's just a safety issue for me. When I'm riding, my feet don't come flying off, and I've had it happen before. I'm not going to share that footage here, but I did share it on my TikTok where I took some of the jumps on the jump line here at Lewis Hart Park. My feet came off the pedal. I was off balance. I wasn't able to pull it back together before the next jump, and I just kind of went sideways and landed on my face. So, these kind of things are going to happen when you don't have your pads set right where you want them. Anyone can attest to this. So this is something that I'm working on to find the right settings for the front pad. I finally got it to where I can get my foot far enough back on the pedal where I'm comfortable, but I still don't like that I don't have a bottom pad. So I may be working with sliding that back pad downwards to see where I can find a more comfortable setting for that. Now, one of the other things that I'm less than thrilled with is that this wheel doesn't come with its own seat molded to this particular wheel. If you look at the top, it's just all metal with just rubber covers for the suspension, but when you're sitting on it, you feel all the metal poking into your leg and your thigh. When you're taking turns, you feel like you're going to slide off. So riding seated is definitely not the most comfortable feeling when you're on this wheel. It's not a deal breaker for me because I mostly ride off-road, and even when I'm doing street, I may start off seated but then quickly get on my feet. So I'm not sitting down for long periods of time. But if you're somebody who does longer rides, if you're going 30, 50, 70 miles doing something long distance, you're not going to have a good time on this wheel. I'm going to tell you right now, riding seated is not the best. There are a few aftermarket seats that are being printed as we speak. There's a couple of offerings. I'm not crazy about any of those so far that I've seen. I'm looking for something that's a little bit thinner, and a lot of the stuff that's out there is just bigger, and it kind of grabs onto the back handle and pivots kind of funny. And I'd like a smaller seat, kind of like what comes on the F22, where it just fits right on top of the seat. It velcros on. It doesn't add any more height to the wheel, which is what I'm looking for, because I do like this height for getting it between my legs on jumps. There's nothing that gets in the way when I'm carving, when I'm moving, when I'm trying to get adjusted. So to put a seat on this, I'm working with somebody right now to see what we can't come up with to print something that's thinner, but it's still going to be grippy enough to hold and still absorbent enough to where you're not feeling all the metal ridges on your gentle bits. Weird small detail, but one other thing that I wasn't crazy about is the handle on this thing. When you push the button, the spring doesn't just pop up automatically to greet you. Sometimes I need two hands to do it, so you have to kind of push down with one finger and grab with the other two and pull up. So it's a little bit awkward and uncomfortable, and it's a little bit of a wobbly handle. It's not the most stable thing, but it still works out whenever I have to go shopping. If I'm going to go to the store, I can put the basket right on the front, hold it with the handle, and kind of walk around the store. Not a big deal, but a little bit uncomfortable. So a couple of closing thoughts. I personally absolutely love this wheel. This, at the price point where it's at, it's right up there with like the X-Way and the Apex. But when I consider that, I love the way this wheel looks. I love the way it feels. When I take it out on trails, it is very comfortable. It is very fun. I love getting out there, sending whenever I can. It really wants to shoot you on the jumps, and I have to tone it down, or I will overshoot. And you'll notice in a lot of the videos, a lot of the clips here, that I am casing a lot of the jumps because it's a little bit hard not to overshoot it. So I do try to take it easy. You know, being an older rider, I have to be very cautious of my limits because injuries, I don't recover from so easily. But you get some of these other guys out here, they can easily rip on this wheel, no problem. Riding around the city, I'm not sending it too fast. I think the wheel tops out at about 55 miles an hour. And the range, according to the website, is about 70 miles. I highly doubt you're going to get that. I would probably put this more at about 50 or 55, but don't quote me on that because I have not done a range test. Just judging by when I've done group rides, you know, going 20, 25 miles, and I look at my battery that's left, I'm kind of putting it together. I'm like, it looks like I might get about 50 or so. But when you're on trails, you've got plenty of battery, plenty of torque. It's going to pull you up some steep climbs. I think 45 degrees is what the website says. I absolutely can see that with no problem. I've never had any issues where the wheel is cut out on me because I'm doing a climb that's too steep, or that I've lost traction as a result as well. So these are things that I love about the wheel. Is it for you? Depends. I mean, if you love going off-road, I would say yes, absolutely. I would pick this up. If you're more of a street rider or, you know, doing long distances, I may possibly caution you and let you know to make your own decision. You know, make up your mind as to if this is going to be a good wheel for you. But when I consider how easy it is to do the maintenance on this, if I have to pull the wheel off or the motor off of the whole chassis for tire changes or anything else I may have to do for whatever reason, it's super simple. The maintenance on the shocks is very simple. You know, a couple of twists of a couple of knobs here and there, you can really dial in your suspension. If you need to add more air, you just undo it from the bottom. The shock pump that it comes with is going to get you right where you need to be. It gives you a chart of your weight and, you know, where you want to set it. And even those are guidelines because maybe, again, you like it stiffer, you like it softer. So it really all depends. If you want to be the rolling party, you've got your speakers and light system, so you can definitely be the DJ at your next rolling bar mitzvah, wedding, or funeral. Doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. But to me, yes, absolutely, this is my wheel of choice. I'm super glad that I picked it up. Would I buy it again? No question. This is definitely, even now, seeing other wheels that have come out, like the Lynx S, I'm still going to say, yeah, I'm going to probably go with this one for my specific needs, which is going to be off-roading, you know. And if you can see here, it's buttery. The suspension, super smooth. It absolutely absorbs a lot of the bumps, a lot of the rocks, a lot of the roots. You really don't feel a whole lot of jarring when you're on this wheel. So it's absolutely fantastic. The only thing I've got to get used to is I'm still dialing in my pad setting on the power pads because, like I said, the back pads, it feels kind of goofy. So maybe we'll design a pad that will work with my back heel or whatever, or just lower the pad that I've got now. But other than that, this wheel, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 4 because I don't see why not. And, you know, if we're talking about comparing metrics with inches, it definitely takes the cake. So other than that, you know, if you get a chance to ride one, by all means, try it, check it out, go for a ride, see what you think. If your buddy's got one, if you can go to a store and do a demo, by all means, I recommend doing this. Ride it and compare it to other wheels and see how you feel about it. And if you already have one, let me know in the comments below. What did you think of this wheel? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you like about it? I definitely want to hear from you. Am I totally crazy in my thoughts and my opinions, or, you know, am I pretty much spot on? So that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for checking this out. I hope you enjoyed this. Until the next one, stay safe, stay charged, and we'll see you soon. Oh yeah, I said I wasn't going to show this, but it's too funny not to, so enjoy. Oh.